It is your PrisonPlanet.tv memberships that fund so much of what we do here on this operation. And then we're more than happy for the TV show after it's aired live, then be leaked out onto the web to tens of millions of people. That's our goal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to wake up. I mean, to fully awaken, even if you know what's happening in the New World Order, but you're not reaching out to people. You're not informing others. You're not fighting against tyranny. You're not seeing yourself as leaders. If you're not seeing yourself as leaders, then we don't have any hope as a society. It is going to be every man, woman, and child of you out there that are aware of this great evil that are going to be able to turn the tide. I mean, look at the news here today. Look at what's happening in England, and similar things are happening here in the United States. CCTV taxi plan, a staggering invasion of privacy. Plans to fit all taxis operating in the city of Oxford, England, with audio recording devices have been branded as staggering invasion of privacy. Well, they put cameras up all over the country. Why not? They listen to your cell phones without warrants. Why not? Prompting calls for an Information Commission's office to investigate how widespread the use of microphones in public transport has become. Well, they've put them in, they're talking about in planes, having a camera in the front of the seat watching you like you're a prisoner. Homeland Security is actually entertaining making people wear taser bracelets. They're already setting up highway checkpoints with TSA now. Plans to fit all taxis, again, operating in the city. Taxi drivers in the university town have been told that they will need to install the 460-pound device, and again, that's not pounds in weight, pounds in money, by 2015 or face having their licenses revoked. The microphones, accompanied by CCTV cameras, will activate once the ignition in the car is turned on and will remain recording for 30 minutes after the engine is turned off. The council says the recording equipment is necessary to protect drivers and passengers as well as deal with any disputes over fares. See, you're all being treated as if you're guilty criminals, and so you've got to be recorded. And now in England, for 4 years, over 20,000 families a year, the government does this. They take your child at birth for no reason, and then give it back after a few weeks, and then make you put cameras in your house to prove that you're not hurting the child. This is just done out of hand. Here's the Associated Press. Outrage at UK plan to put audio recorders in taxis. What are you talking about? I mean, what do you think all this other systems are? The government's putting up Homeland Security-controlled light poles and fake transformer boxes that have microphones and cameras in them. It's all admitted. See, when you stop caring about freedom, things get crazy. And then one more thing I want to hit before I take a call here in this short segment. London Telegraph, and we'll put this article up. It's up at drudgereport.com and other places. I saw it yesterday, but didn't get to it. China, Google Earth spots huge unidentified structures in the Gobi Desert. You can just show them a document cam if you want. And it's these giant, what look like metal tracks going for many, many miles, probably part of some type of HARP program. But again, it's all under national security. And because it's all under national security, just like here, no one gets to find out what it is. You give government unlimited money and power to play God, they start acting like it. Heaven knows what they're involved in, but it looks like it's HARP-related from my research. We'll be covering all this tonight, 7 o'clock Central for that special report. Let's jam in another call here. Let's talk to New World Order calling from Nevada. Go ahead.
Alex, this is on the NWO.
Hey.
Calling you from Nevada. I'm sitting here looking at these demons spraying my city right now as we speak. But I've got some crucial information for you related to your efforts for the social network, for Twitter, and for Ron Paul. First of all, on Twitter, if you want to be the most effective with your Twitter bombs, you need to create hashtags for your tweets, for the tweets that you post and the effort. You know, just like you use a search term with Google, you need to create a hashtag with Twitter. So you need to create pound chemtrails or pound geoengineering or pound Infowars.com or Infowars. You can't use a dot. You can only use numbers and letters. That's just one thing. I know you're going to.
Well, I'll tell you what. Send me a report. I'll put you on hold and give you our email. Send me. I know we don't know much about Twitter. We're invading Twitter right now at Real Alex Jones. There at Twitter. Thank you so much. Send us some of those bullet points. Everybody else is telling me that, so I need to be schooled in the ways of the Tweety. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us.
I'm Cobra Commander, and I say don't listen to Alex Jones. What we need is a global government headed up by Cobra, with a global Cobra currency, brought to you by my friends at Goldman Sachs. So, Cobra!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is Tuesday, the 15th day of November, 2011, and yes, 2011 has gotten very long in the tooth and in the beard, and soon we will enter the vaunted 2012, accelerating towards late December, when supposedly the Earth will be destroyed. Of course, the Mayans also believe the Earth was the back of a alligator, and that we all lived on top of an alligator and the world was flat. So I believe that we're going to be here a year from now, a year and a half from now. But there is a slight chance and a growing chance the globalists will wreak incredible disasters and havoc on this population, on this globe, with the genetic engineering, with the nuclear weapons. The list goes on and on. Okay, here's what's coming up today. Mark Hinkle will be joining us. He is the head of the Libertarian Party here in the United States, and we'll talk about the Libertarian Party's plans to, well, try to push the idea of freedom versus collectivism and globalism and the whole New World Order system. And so he is the chairman of the Libertarian Party. He will be joining us today, and I'll bring up Ron Paul, Jesse Ventura, and other issues. And then Webster Tarpley, never one to act like a tough guy, but he certainly is one, especially mentally and historically. His IQ is up there quite a bit, up there in lights, as they would say. And no brag, just fact, he went to Libya during the bombardment. Went through checkpoints out of Tunisia, was in areas that were strafed. He doesn't really talk about that on air, but he was under attack. Now he's run off to Syria to find out actually what's going over there. And he's going to be joining us coming up in the third hour today to look at all things geopolitical. So Mark Hinkle, head of the Libertarian Party, and Webster Griffin Tarpley, doctor of history, and of course he's also an economist. He will be joining us to talk about the Middle East, Israel, what the word is over there geopolitically, and then the second part of our interview will get a bit into the world economy and the open announcement of a Bank of the World run by the mega banks, and in their own words, they admit it's dictatorial. But also, it was a 35-minute interview, so I won't air all of it. Coming up a little bit later, towards the end of this hour and into the second, ahead of Mr. Hinkle joining us, we are going to play part of an interview I did last night with Jim Rogers, of course, who's made tens of billions of dollars in the last 30, 40 years as a big hedge fund manager, as a stockbroker, you name it. He joined us for his maiden visit, but he said he'd love to come back in the future. And, of course, he's a big Ron Paul supporter, and he talked about the foregone conclusion of the complete and total collapse of the world economy. And that, yes, they'll attempt a world government, but that it's not going to work in his view. Wow, it's a powerful interview. And I will attempt to air most of it here today, which is really premiering it here on actual broadcast. It streamed out last night to all the prisonplanet.tv viewers, and then all the other folks that then upload it to the four winds of the web. But we'll be playing the audio/video here. When I got him on, I said, well, how long do you have? Because we were taping the show last night. Some nights we're live, some nights we tape it. And we got him on at about, 6:20 Central. And he said, I'll do an hour and a half with you. And I said, well, unfortunately, we're going to go live then, and so we can't start the interview now and then do that. He says, well, I'll come back in 30 minutes. Really nice guy. And I said, you know what? Let's just do this now. And he goes, okay, good. Because the reason I have an hour and a half is I'm going to be on my exercise bike while we're doing the interview. And he must have had it turned way up on the resistance, because you can see him driving the pedals down and his face turning redder and redder as we do the interview. And the Skype was very, very clear audio and video, but a few times it broke up here and there. So we're going to air that coming up later in this hour and into the second hour today with Jim Rogers. And boy, does he know a lot. He was the guy who made George Soros a lot of his money. He was the, quote, partner with George Soros early on who increased the wealth of the funds they managed by 4,600% in the same period that the S&P and other indexes went up less than 60%. So very, very interesting. And he basically broke down the crony capitalism, where somebody like himself over decades made billions of dollars. Now these big hedge fund managers can make personally $5-6 billion a year. And again, that's crony capitalism that is going on. Also, sometime today, before Hinkle even joins us, an hour and a half from now, an hour and 15 minutes from now, I've got to just briefly comment on the Jesse Ventura, David Icke controversy that's going on. And I read this last night, and I want to read it again because I had a highlighted copy or a marked copy at home on the points I wanted to make, and I forgot it. So I'm going to have to reread this during a break to make my points about these two men and hopefully stop them from getting into a war with each other that is only destructive for those of us that are investigating liberty and freedom. I think both men are good people. In fact, I know both men are good people, even though I may disagree with both of them on some issues. And it was a comedy of error that caused this. Because I can read Ike's article and see how he thought he was seeing one thing, and really it was another. Because, well, I'm going to have a message to David Icke especially coming up. Okay, so coming up later in the hour. Because I could call David up on the phone and tell him this, but I think it's just better. I think it's just better to address Ventura and David Icke together at the same time on air, because they got into a big argument and there was a big fracas. And I can tell you that the Ventura camp did not intend this to happen, is not happy. They called me last night. And they've already interviewed Icke 2 seasons ago, and it was very positive. And I have been embroiled in the middle of this. I'm in this article, so I don't normally get into this stuff, but these two guys are, towers of alternative thought, and for whatever reason, they've garnered the attention. See, and so we can't have them fighting with each other. Just like I said some bad things about David Icke 12 years ago because I was asked about it. I said he was a turd in a punch bowl. And see, I'm already covering this now. I'm going to comment on it later. And the point is that was destructive. And so I apologize for it. David is welcome to his opinion, and he is a very intelligent person. And I mean, all these religions out there believe things wackier than what he does. And so that was wrong, because so much of what he does I know is documented, and he's very well-spoken, very charismatic, and has woken a lot of people up. A lot of the fruits of David Icke are very, very positive. And I've talked to him, a lot, and I think he's a good guy. Same thing with Ventura. And now these two are in a big fight with each other. So I'll comment at the bottom of the hour. It's pretty soon. I'll have time to read the article again, because I had all these points I wanted to make. I wanted to address each area. And so in the next 2 breaks, I'll have time to read this. It's titled Jesse Ventura, Pet Detective. I must read, so I'm gonna reread over that and comment on it. And again, normally I don't get into infighting and stuff like that, but these guys are both really, big icons in alternative thought, and it's just destructive to have them fighting. And then their supporters and admirers and people fighting with each other. So I'm gonna address it because it's educational on other fronts, and it's important to try to get these guys to make up and be friends, I think. Okay, wow, where do I start? Let me just do this. Mini, mo. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stacks here. That's an unlucky number of stacks. You guys better bring me some more stacks in there so I have more than 13. Maybe I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12,